And so I would like to ask Mr. Brad Byers if he would come lead us in the pledge, please.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Byers. I appreciate that. We'll go ahead and start with our 30 seconds in my district. And if we could start with Dr. Brannon, please.
Well, first of all, I'd like to congratulate all of the graduates of the schools that I officiated at, and all over the system as well. Tomorrow is a monumental day for Dr. Joseph, and we will be celebrating his visits to all the schools in Metro. The 168th visit will be tomorrow at Oliver. So that's my 30 seconds.
Ms. Fogg.
I, too, would like to congratulate the graduates, and I just wanted to share, there are always great moving stories every year, and I want to share one of the experiences I had. I officiated the Bass Adult High School graduation, and there was a lady who spoke at the graduation and told her story, and she talked about being young and making bad choices, bad decisions, and ultimately dropping out of high school. She ended up with 3 children and went to work as a janitor and realized that her prospects, she didn't have much opportunity, and she was at a hospital, and she cried telling this story because she said, I looked around and I thought I would make a good nurse or I would make a good technician, but she knew she couldn't get those jobs. And by this point, with 3 children, she decided she would go back to school. She looked at the high school schedule, and it was very daunting. I mean, she thought, I can't possibly do all these courses. And her little 6-year-old said, Mama, if you will go back to school, I will help watch the baby so you can do your homework. And so with the support of family, she made it through, and she graduated, and it's just really heartening to hear those stories and hear how much it meant to her to have that opportunity within our school system. So congratulations to all our graduates.
Mr. Pinkson.
Yeah, over the past month or so, Conexión Americas, which runs a terrific program called Parents as Partners, which brings our new American families into the schools for adult basic education, but also helps them get acquainted with other aspects of not just the school system, but the government. They had a series of graduation ceremonies over the course of the past month at Glencliff Elementary School, Glenview Elementary School, Norman Binkley Elementary, and also the Katza Atzafran Early Learning Center. So the Parents as Partners program does great work empowering our new American parents, and just want to say thank you very much for all the work that those parents have done and that Conexión has done to support them. Second thing, wanted to, as the District 7 representative in whose district resides the central office, among other facilities, I wanted to just say a big shout out to everybody who worked on, over the past few years, the Employee Wellness Center, which opened, had its grand opening last week. I was unfortunately not able to be there because I was ironically sick that day, but I am migrating my prescriptions to the pharmacy at the Employee Wellness Center. I'll be taking advantage in the future of the Vanderbilt Health Clinic in that facility. I will not be doing Zumba, just so we're all clear. But it's a terrific facility, and every employee in the school system ought to be aware of it and avail themselves of it. And thank you, and retirees. And thank you, Dr. Brannon, for your role on the insurance trust, which is the entity that made it all happen. And then Oh, of course, and Ms. Spearin as well, and Dr. Huth, if he's here nearby, and Stephen Henry and others who were so integral to the process. And then last thing, like Dr. Brannon and Ms. Frog, I had the honor recently of presiding over the Glencliff High School graduation ceremony this year. Principal Clint Wilson and I were talking offline while we were kind of waiting for the movements to finish up, and we hatched a plan to invite or reach out to Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, who attended Glencliff once upon a time, but to try to get him to attend and speak at a future ceremony, if not next year, sometime soon. So The Rock, if you're listening, we want you. Thanks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to say congratulations to Dr. Tammy Lipsey, who was elected to the National Board for the Reading Recovery Council of North America. So that's quite an honor, and I'm proud of Dr. Lipsey. Also, we had the 40-year employee luncheon for our teachers and employees, and I want to thank Mary Pierce for the idea she had about writing handwritten notes to our teachers and employees. At that event, teachers and employees came up to me and said, "This means so much to me." So thank you, Mary, for that great idea.
You can thank my mother.
And I was excited to see Amy Frogue in the movie Backpack Full of Cash. Amy, we're proud of you. Thank you for representing us so well. At Goodlettsville Middle School, Beatrice Salgado has offered parenting classes, and those parents graduated a week or so ago, and it was really a lovely event because over this time, the younger siblings have been able to come, and they were cared for by the older students. So it's really been a nice way to work together. And lastly, I want to thank Christian Buggs for certifying the Maplewood graduation in my absence, and also Sue Kessler for certifying the Hunters Lane graduation. Thank you.
Ms. Pierce.
Hey, well, likewise, I want to congratulate the graduates. Had the honor of doing Hillsborough High School and honoring the valedictorian Addison Rowe, who it's just been fun to watch her grow up. And she has accepted a full ride to Duke University. And then also the salutatorian Taylor Duncan, who'll be going to Rhodes. And I got to see Taylor the next morning at the School of Science and Math at Vanderbilt's graduation. And then also had the pleasure with Dr. Brandon being at Harris Tillman last week, which is always a moving ceremony. Also in my district, I want to give a shout out and thanks of just appreciation to the principal at Aiken Elementary, Tim Drinkwine. Dr. Drinkwine has just served that school very selflessly and has been very good to the community. So he will be missed, but we trust that we will be finding a great leader that fits that community perfectly, or as close to perfect as possible. And then Craig Hammond over at Weston Middle, want to congratulate him as another principal who has been promoted within the district, and he will serve next year as an executive director of school support and improvement. So we want to congratulate Dr. Hammond for that promotion. And also, I want to give notice just to the board colleagues that I'll be bringing a resolution for recommitment to our governing policy 3, which is a board job description, specifically line 8, advocate on behalf of the organization and all the students it serves. Thank you.
Ms. Buggs?
I would like to just point out again, in Vision Napier, we're still having monthly meetings. Anyone from the community is welcome to come. There are specific meetings depending on whatever expertise you might want to offer or perspective you might want to give. We do have a community advisory committee group that'll be meeting on June 15th at 8 a.m., then a town hall that same day at 6 p.m. at Sudicum Apartments. We also have another meeting in July 11th at 6 p.m. I'll be updating you all soon. We should have all the information from the surveys from the past few months. They did a lot of resident surveys, and I want to say their goal was 50%, but I'm not sure how close we've gotten to that. So I'll just keep you updated with what Envision Napier is going to look like, and then how that could affect us or how we can affect them. Again, to reiterate what my colleagues have said, great graduation season. I had the pleasure of certifying 7 graduations and attending 8. It was fun, though. It was a marathon race. So I appreciate the work that those students have done, that those teachers and administrators have done. Congratulations. Quite a few of my schools had either 100% graduation, 100% college acceptance, or both, and I think that's a really big deal. East, Leeds, Stratford High School, MLK, Hume Fogg, Pearl-Cohn, NSA, and Maplewood, you all have a piece of my heart. Yesterday, I spoke at the Glenn 4th grade graduation ceremony. And I'm sorry, I'm not stepping on your toes, Jill, but I just have to have a shout out to Jerry Baxter. They are hosting a Related Arts Bash June 5th through 9th that's free to the public. They'll be having PE, art, and music from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Please stop by Jerry Baxter if you know a middle school student that could benefit from this. And lastly, super shout out to MNEA and SEIU as they supported us yesterday when we sat through the council hearing regarding the budget. They were there with signs, they were there with encouraging words. We just appreciate your presence and your support. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Bugs. So my 30 seconds in my district has to do with McGavick High School. I know that comes as no surprise to anybody. So on Thursday night before graduation, they held their senior awards ceremony, and it was a little over 2 hours long, and the entire night, it didn't matter what student was receiving what award, they were supported 100% by their colleagues. I mean, it didn't matter who was receiving what. The excitement in that room was incredible. When I welcomed them, it was standing room only in the auditorium that seats 500, and so it was an incredible night. And then at graduation was another very emotional graduation. 3 students received a standing ovation from their colleagues when they went across the stage. They're special needs students, and one young man told his mom, "I am walking." And so with assistance, he walked across the stage, and it was, I get chill bumps just even talking about it. It was an incredibly moving. The valedictorian and the salutatorian did great speeches, thanking various teachers, and we didn't have tissues on the stage, but we sure did need them. And so as a point of personal privilege, I want to say happy birthday to Miss Bobo's son, Kyrie. Today is his birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
I know. Happy birthday to Anna.
We share a birthday. Just a couple years difference. All right, we'll move on to the good news is we have Hunters Lane High School here.
Good evening. My name is Adana Brown, and I am currently a junior in the Academy of International Baccalaureate at Hunters Lane High School. Through my academy, I've not only had constant and continual college preparation, but I, as well as the other students in my academy, will have the opportunity to obtain college credit given we pass the test at the end of our senior year. I am also a part of the Army Junior ROTC program at Hunters Lane High School, and I recently had the opportunity to participate in a completely cadet run and planned field day with Whites Creek High School and Station Camp High School. Also, as a lover of the arts, I participated in our spring production of Sweeney Todd, which was not only personally challenging to me playing the role of Sweeney Todd, but is also known as one of the most challenging productions to put on, especially at a high school level, and I'm glad to say that we pulled it off well. Lastly, and probably the highlight of my year, was getting to test out a virtual reality system with my IB History of the Americas class. And then as an ambassador, I got to lead a tour for Congressman Jim Cooper, where I shared my experience with the virtual reality system.
That's awesome.
Hi, my name is Jacob Fawcett. I am in the Griffin Design and Tech Academy at Hunters Lane High School. And this academy has given me many opportunities, not just academically, but furthering my career in engineering in the future. I'm also in NHS, National Honor Society, where I got to meet multiple people that have helped me not only advance who I want to be in the future, but who I am now. One of the things I've done this year that is most notable is I'm Student of the Year at Hunters Lane High School. And I also have an acceptance for an internship at Nissan this summer. So I'm looking forward to that one. I also have the opportunity this summer to teach children at Hunters Lane High School during the summer for robotics and programming. So thank you for that. And thank you for this opportunity to speak.
Can we have the students and Mr. Byers for a photo op, please? Okay, we will move on to our governance issues and begin with our consent agenda. Ms. Spearing.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The consent agenda reads as follows. 1A, approval of minutes, 12/13/16 and 3/28/17. B, recommended approval of request number 5 for projects at various schools, including Julia Green Elementary School playroom renovations from the Carter Group LLC. C, recommended approval to declare portable buildings at the various schools as surplus. D, awarding of purchases and contracts. 1, Advanced Education Incorporated. 2, Brick Church College Prep LLC. 3, Cameron College Prep LLC. 4, Discovery Education Inc. 5, Lipscomb University with 2 contracts. 6, Metropolitan Nashville Police Department. 7, Metropolitan Nashville Public Health Department. 8, Nashville Tools for Schools LLC. 9, Pencil Foundation. 10, Republic Schools in Nashville. And 11, Spectrum Center Inc. of Tennessee. Madam Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda as read.
Mr. Pinkston.
Second, and discussion? Okay. Can we hear from Mr. Henson on item number D10, which involves Republic Schools of Nashville? And while he's making his way to the podium, if anybody isn't aware, this school is currently the subject of a federal class action lawsuit over illegal text spam messaging to families. And my understanding is that the federal judge has certified it as a class. They could be on the hook for up to $22 million in penalties, potentially, depending on where this lawsuit goes. And I just kind of want to make sure we're clear on what this lease is and whether or not our asset in this could be subject to forfeiture, if and when the time comes. So, Mr. Henson, can you just remind us what that lease was and what it's all about?
Sure. Republic is a charter management organization that leases facility space from MNPS, and they currently have 3 schools where they lease space from us. We charge them a per square foot dollar amount, the same as other charter schools and other entities. And so this takes basically the previous per square foot rate, adds an inflationary factor that we add each year to it. It's strictly revenue that comes into the district to cover the cost of providing utilities and different security and grounds care, et cetera, for those 3 facilities.
I just make a request to Ms. Harkey and others to just do a review of those leases on those buildings, just to make sure we don't have any kind of inadvertent exposure to their legal liability. And that's all I had with that issue. Thank you.
The consent agenda has been moved and seconded. All in favor of approval of the consent agenda, please? Okay, thank you. Item number 2, Budget and Finance 2017-18 operating budget. Ms. Perry?
Yes. Shall we start with the motion and then have a discussion?
You can make some comments.
Okay. We presented our revised budget last night to the Metro Council. We had great participation in the audience with SEIU and our teachers. It was really a good night. The Metro Council members were very receptive to the presentations, and Dr. Joseph and Chris Henson did a great job, not only in their presentations, but also fielding questions from the audience. The discussion continued for about 2.5 hours. So it was a lot of great questions and comments and a lot of support. Dr. Joseph, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, again, I thank you and the board for your leadership in getting through this first budget season here. And I think the council was receptive, and I think I sense they really care about education, and I appreciate all of their support, along with the mayor's support.
Yes, thank you. Mary, would you like to say anything as vice chair?
I thought it was a smooth process. Thank you for all your help.
Absolutely. Okay, so I want to move to approve the revised fiscal year 2017-2018 operating budget, which was unanimously approved in committee this afternoon and presented to the Metro Council last night.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to apologize for not making it last night. I had a family commitment, but I spent part of the night after you guys left the chamber fielding phone calls from council members saying, and friends saying how well everybody thought it went. So whatever happened in there was good stuff. And thanks, as always, to Mr. Henson for his leadership in turning square corners around an award-winning budget process.
Ms. Bugs?
If you don't mind, I do want to, I don't think we can praise Dr. Joseph and Mr. Henson enough, just because not only were you all very transparent, but this budget reflects our core values. It reflects the mission that we're on. It reflects our vision. You can, any question that was asked about how we were going to move middle schools forward, what was the purpose of investing so much into STEAM or STEM, the questions about nursing. I mean, you all had an answer. You had a good response for everything. So I appreciate your diligence, your hard work, and the rest of the world is going to see. They're going to see. So thank you.
Anybody else have any comment? Great. Okay, so we have a motion. It's been seconded to approve the 2017-2018 amended budget. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Spearing. Thank you, Ms. Pierce. So moving on to number 3, the student discipline appeal. Ms. Harkey, could you mind coaching us one more time for slow learners? Or I forget.
All right. Tonight, you have before you a request for a Level 3 student discipline appeal hearing. The request came from the parent. I will remind you this has previously been through both a Level 1 and a Level 2, where both the Level 1 and Level 2, they upheld what had been put into place by the school. It was not a full calendar year expulsion, however, it was close. So they have now asked for a Level 3. That is before you tonight. What you are doing tonight is you are being asked to, you've already received the record, so based upon a review of the record, you may grant or deny a request for a board hearing, or you may affirm or overturn the decision of the hearing authority with or without a hearing before the board. So again, we're kind of back to the situation where if you want to have a hearing, certainly we can set that up based on your vote, or if after review of the packet you have enough information and you're ready to make a determination on what you want to do, we can go ahead and do that tonight.
Can we have any discussion?
You can have discussion with the understanding that we need to be careful in terms of the information that we're discussing. This is student records, and so we need to keep the confidentiality of the student and not go into great detail in a way that would allow somebody to be able to determine who the student was.
Thank you. Does anyone have any commentary they have?
I
on
do.
this case?
I do. Well, first I have a question. I know they're asking to either allow them to repeal the expulsion or to allow them to go to a charter school. Where's the student now? Are they at the ALC?
I do not know whether they are attending. They have been assigned to the ALC. I don't know whether they are presently going to the ALC every day, but that is where they're currently assigned.
Okay.
I also don't, in terms of the charter idea that they have certainly asked to be able to go to a charter school, I would encourage you guys to view that as the same thing as an overturning of the expulsion. A charter school is a district school just like any other. And so if we're going to allow them to go to the charter school, we would allow them to go back to the zone school.
My question with it, well, yeah, okay. Understand.
Any other questions? Can I get a motion?
Madam Chairman, I move to uphold the decision of both the first appeal and the second appeal.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Can I get into discussion around that?
As always, I just think we should take an hour to hear what's happened and before we decide about what happens to a child's life. This is the kid in middle school that would be going to an alternative learning center. For those of you that have not visited an alternative learning center or don't have a student or know a student that has attended one, you might want to consider speaking to one before we just don't have a hearing. So I just ask that we have a hearing.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, we have a motion and it's been seconded that we uphold both decisions, the level 1 and level 2. All in favor of doing that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, opposed? Okay, 3. Okay, the motion passes that we uphold the levels 1 and 2 decisions. Thank you.
Okay,
Ms.
and just for clarification, I want to make so we're not, we went ahead and made the decision, so we did not grant the hearing.
Right.
Just-
Right, thank you. All righty, Ms. Buggs.
Be there no further business. This meeting is adjourned.
Okay, and so we will go ahead and start the work session. It's going to be very short and very sweet. Very short.
I did.
How you log in the board docs?
The history of the shortest meeting,
That'd be all right, man.
especially on your birthday.
Yeah.
If you have a question. Okay.
Okay, everyone, I'm going to give you a quick board docs demo. Anna and Dr. Brandon have gone through this tutorial, so they'll be able to help you all if you get caught up.
Doesn't mean a thing.
Sure about that.
So, okay. And David can assist too. So when you all come into a meeting, on the iPad, you will have one tab where you'll see the agenda, as you always see. And the other tab, you'll see the board docs login. And so on your iPad right now, please click the tab at the top that says Emerald Data Solutions. And that should pull up the board docs website.
I don't have that.
Yeah, click on
Top one?
the top one. So the top one will be the agenda loaded, the one will just be the website.
Everybody have that? Good. Okay.
Gotcha.
I'm checking
Do I
everybody.
have a username?
Mm-hmm, it's,
Can't type.
and then change them. Okay, you're rolling.
Okay.
Okay, so we're good? So everybody's screen should look like David's screen. Could you show them your screen? And this is the new agenda layout. Will look when you come to meetings. Something similar to David's, okay? And so on the projectors, on the big screens, that is what the audience will see as we go through the meeting. So as I go from line item to line item, on your screen, the items will turn gray. So now the Pledge of Allegiance should be gray. 30 seconds in my district should be gray. Hunters Lane High School. And at any
There's a little
point,
bit of a lag.
yeah, there's a little bit of a lag. But at any point that you want to go to another part of the agenda, you have the option to click there and it won't mess me up. Okay, so
We'll
let's,
turn it yellow, by the way. So whatever you're on will be yellow, whatever Cam is on will be gray. Whatever the world is on will be gray.
okay, so I'm gonna go all the way down to awarding of bids and contracts. So usually after we finish the contracts, it's time to vote. So we're gonna take you through a mock voting. So the motion would be, just say Ms. Spearing. Ms. Spearing usually reads the consent agenda, and Dr. Brandon seconds most times.
Now, you should see an option on your screen that gives you an option to vote yes or no concerning the motion that we just put on the floor. Do you see that?
You can vote no, or whatever you want to do.
So we
So
can go
you
ahead
can
and vote
vote
now?
yes,
Go ahead and
no,
vote.
you can abstain, and if you're not present, then it'll fill that out for me.
So you see on the screen, it says that Ms. Sparing has made the motion, Dr. Brandon's made the second.
So does it tell you whether or not your vote shows up? Like, 'cause it
Well,
does-
I'm waiting,
it's not showing me.
Thais, Mary, and Amy.
Oh, we're supposed to vote?
I did it.
Sorry.
and it's-
Sorry. I thought we were just looking at it.
Okay, I wasn't pushing it hard. I kept pushing it. and
Okay,
didn't
so
do
I have
anything.
everybody's
Okay.
vote.
All right.
So I'm gonna close the online voting.
If that happens again, you know, Cameo will probably just say, Ms. Hunter, have you voted? And then, you know,
Okay.
we'll only screw it up 2 times before we get it right.
Okay.
Okay, and now the votes on the screen. That's it.
Great.
It's easy.
So, what would be helpful to me during this process, and Anna is gonna do this for me, but to be sure to say who made the motion and who made the second. So, you know, just be sure that she sees more than your voice now, that she actually sees who made that motion and second, so that I can be sure to select the right people. And during times when we have multiple motions on the floor, I might have to ask you guys to repeat the motion so that I get it right before it pops up on the screen. But other than that, it should be pretty smooth.
And kind of the reason for that second part is a lot of times a lot of people will second, you know, there'll be 4 people that'll second, right? I'll look up something obvious. And then, you know, unless we get confirmation, Cam's gonna type in second by Bugs, when in fact, you know, the chair might believe it was actually second by Hunter, you know, for instance. So just to make sure the record's clear, we're gonna ask Anna each time to say, you know, I make a motion by Mr. Pinkston, do I hear a second? Second by Ms. Pierce, and then that way, you know, she can hammer out the Pierce roll. I mean, that'll make sure we don't ever get into any, I think it'll make for just a much cleaner process. And the next thing, you know, we're gonna do, this won't require us to stay after school. I don't believe, we'll probably just be able to put this into an email. Is, you see those tabs across the top of your screen there about meetings, agenda, policies. Obviously, that's where policies will live, right? And then the next one is libraries. And then I believe we've got a lot of information, like in doing some work for Mr. Pinkston, I was able to stumble across all these great one-page documents around all our schools that you can use, that you could use with realtors or apartment complexes or people that you want to give a one-pager to about various schools in your district. That's where they live, so you don't have to ring me up every time, you know. You can just get them, download the PDF and send it to whom you need to send it to, or whatever. If you see there's something in there that you'd like to have, that you think would be of benefit to all, we can just keep it in the library. And it's a pretty nice resource for you. It might be documents from the School Boards Association, it might be something on the national level, but some sort of resource that can live in there. And then there's a search function, which I haven't found much use for yet.
I do have one question.
Okay.
So, we see here the vote, who it was motion second, and who voted and how they voted on that screen, but we're not gonna see it on our personal screen.
No, it doesn't come.
Correct, you'll have to look up to see
Okay.
see the
Just wanna make
result.
sure.
That's correct, yeah. 'Cause I think that would interfere with, it would cover over your agenda.
What would, okay, all right, gotcha. I'm
Now,
good.
You can still, eventually, we'll be just sending you an email that says the document has been uploaded to your Board Docs account, as opposed to sending you, you know, a PDF of it, and then it's the same thing. You'll just view it or print it just the same way you do now. You just have to go through that interface
Okay.
to get to it. So I think it's a step in the right direction.
Cool.
And up there where it says not present at vote, it shows 0, but we have one.
When I took roll at the beginning of the meeting, I did not mark Sharon as present. So when I print out the minutes, it will show the roll call and it will show Dr. Gentry was absent.
Okay.
So that's why I calculated that way.
Okay.
She's not present at all, but she would be not present at this vote particular. Like, if you left the room, for instance, and just missed the vote. So there's sort of two levels of absenteeism.
All right. And brain freeze.
Well, there's the third, there you go.
So there's one more option. There's one more option that I would like to show. Did you have another question?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Ms. Mason did.
Yeah, just think for people who are watching at home or watching on YouTube, can we just go through a little level setting on what is board docs and what's kind of the thrust of why we're doing this so that everybody can follow along with us?
Yeah, I mean, this sort of came around before I was brought on board, but it's a piece of software that allows for, increased transparency for you guys. We can actually see, and there's not any question about how a person weighed in on a particular topic. I think a lot of times in boards and committees, this is a basic issue in governance, that there's some nebulous on who voted what, especially around a voice vote. So that's one reason. The other is just to make it a lot easier for you to have access to documents and sources without having to, and it creates a secure environment for those documents so that you can make notes on the agenda. You have a login, you have a password that you can now change that makes it a much more secure environment for our work.
Presumably, other school boards across America use this system to automate their work.
Yeah, it's pretty much the gold standard of not just school boards. I mean, it's
Judges and courtrooms use it. There's several other agencies that use this software.
water sewer boards or, whatever.
So when I came for the training when the representative was here, and he's the person who trained me, and he went into a little bit more detail during that particular process as to what you could all the different functions you could use this with. And I think that you might be familiar with this particular product as well. And so it was kind of exciting, to be honest with you. And I'm not a techie person, but I really liked it.
We're just lifting the lid a little at a time, on this. So don't, because if we gave you an hour and a half, you wouldn't remember all of it, and no one would be expected to. So let's just ease into, get our toe in the water and make it work. You want to show us one more thing?
Yeah, one more option. So during public participation, instead of me having to run the clock with the remote, we will now be able to set the clock from the television screens. So, let's see. Okay.
Oh.
And the countdown will be there. And I
Good.
can stop and pause.
And so do we have like a bell that goes
I'll
off?
still have my manual bell.
All right.
This board docs thing is completely inadequate. It doesn't have its own bell. Now, this looks good.
Okay. And also, if you notice, under awards and awarding of purchases and contracts, there's an attachment there. So that's where you can look at those attachments if you need to during a board meeting.
Okay. See that. Very good.
Yeah, you may not have seen that, but everywhere there's an actionable item and there's a document associated with it, you just touch that and it opens up a PDF of whatever you're about to take action on. So you're not scrambling with 40 pieces of paper and I'm on tab 9, and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot cleaner. So that's all we have, unless you can think of any more questions.
I like it in increments.
Yep, we're incremental.
Same here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Master this, aren't we, Jolene?
Thanks to Cameo, who really spearheaded this.
Yay, thank you.
Thank you, Cameo.
Good job.
Yes.
You're the best, baby.
Email these.
And we don't have supper tonight because we knew we were going to get finished so quickly, and I figured everybody would want to skedaddle.
Good.
You still good.
Let's do it.